Hello and welcome to the third installment of the Oscar Countdown movie thingy awards that we're doing of our own value and personal views. I am Ben. This is Jared. This is worth your time, but also Oscar Countdown. So I don't really know what this is called. It's both. What do we watch here?
We watched Anatomy of a Fall.
It took me a minute to realize what that title meant. Way too long. See, I thought it meant the fall of, like, her as a person. No, literally the fall of the husband falling.
And that's not spoilers or anything. That's literally the plot of the movie. Happens in the first 5 minutes.
So, we figured out, we did not know going to this, that it is basically a foreign film. It is a foreign film.
So
there's English, but it is a foreign film. When like 90% of it's in French, yeah.
I know. Okay, so with Past Lives, that was like 90% Korean, 10% English. I would say this is more 30% English.
In freaking New York, like.
Yeah, but I would say this is more like 30% English. There is a lot of English. It's just mainly the courtroom scenes that are strictly French.
I don't know why we're debating whether this is a foreign film or not. That's not important.
True.
What is important is how we felt about this movie. And this is our third movie on the Oscars countdown. Jared, what did you think?
So, going into it, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to like this very much. Like, I was just kind of like, this might be an okay movie, but I really don't see why this is nominated for Best Picture. And then it kept going, and it kept getting more intense, and I realized the mystery behind it is the coolest thing, because it's like, you don't know if the wife killed the husband or is innocent. So this entire time, you're watching her. You're watching her story and her try to defend herself and stuff. But you're seeing evidence come from both sides. And you're seeing like, well, this kind of makes her guilty. But then this kind of like, I understand how she could be innocent. It's like, I see it and I see her trying to fight for her innocence. But is she just trying to stay out of jail? Like, and that... I think is the driving force behind this movie. Like that mystery, that not murder mystery, not who did it, just did she do it or no? But I really enjoyed it.
It wasn't a typical, whodunit thing. It was her specifically. I'm kind of right there with you. At the beginning, I was kind of like, but then it started like, okay, this is getting interesting. And I even said, like, while we were watching it, I'm like, Jared, I was kind of iffy about this at the beginning, but it hooked me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it grabbed me and held me. Because it was like, we don't know where it's, like, you understand where it's going. Like, it's like the evidence is getting more and more, like, it's mounting more and more against her. And this isn't spoilers. We're keeping it spoiler free for now. You just don't know whether it's a yes or it's a no, whether she did it or not.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know, it was a great courtroom drama.
Yeah, it was. And one thing I'll say, what I really liked was seeing the courtroom scenes. Like, to see how a court, like, operates in a completely different country was really interesting. Because it's not exactly the same as it is here. It's different. And it was really cool.
What I liked is they didn't shy away from it. They went, this is a courtroom drama. You're in the courtroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, sure, there was a lot that wasn't in the courtroom. When you were in the courtroom, you were in the courtroom. Like, it was
exactly
like, I felt like I could smell the musty old carpets in there, I was there, man.
And another thing I'll say to this film's advantage, it being a foreign film, we knew none of the actors. So I don't know if it felt like this to you, but everyone felt like a real person to me. No one felt like, oh, they're
Yes.
playing a character in the movie. It's like, this is this person. This is, I'm just watching their life.
And
And
I sorry, go ahead. You finish.
that was it. That was pretty much it.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think what lends itself to that is they didn't have like a bunch of fancy music. They didn't have a bunch of like, crazy panning shots. They didn't have like a bunch of effects. It was just frame, talk. They just
Yeah.
talk. And that led itself to make it feel very real, very almost documentary esque in a kind of weird way. But it was just a lot of things were just people talking without without any music or just normal conversation. And like
Yeah.
and I noticed a lot, and I don't know if this is just like a French thing. Okay, I'm not trying to sound racist, not or whatever. But I just don't know. They seem like they emote very differently than Americans do. Like Americans are a
Yes.
bit more stone faced, I guess, if that makes sense. We kind of clam up, and it's more in our voice, where they talk more with their bodies a lot, and their voices are a bit more monotone. It
Yeah.
feels. It was kind of interesting seeing that difference that I'm not used to. So it was kind of unique in that way. I don't know. The scenes felt very real, and like one of the things that I felt was like one of the final scenes. It was just a simple, of like her, saying goodnight to her son or whatever, and it was just a simple, interaction between her son, and like the caretaker. She was, just like, what's up, like how you would interact with an actual person. Like, shh, be quiet, he's sleeping. But you're not like, shh, be quiet, he's sleeping. He wasn't like over
Yeah.
dramatized. It was just like, just like a nod, like a little huff, or just
Yeah.
like it felt just real, and I love that.
Yeah. One thing I'll say that I think was the best part about the whole movie, like at least my best scene, was there's a scene that shows an argument and it goes for about 15 minutes and it's just two people talking at each other and arguing.
Yes.
And the argument goes from like very like, oh, just one person brushing the other person off and trying to calm it down to them both feuding. One of the greatest scenes I've seen in a long time. Like that had me like I was on the edge of my seat. And it was just like an argument, but I was like, this feels so real. Like I am so invested in this emotion. Like what the heck? And it's like someone would say something. It's like, oh my God. But then the other person would say something. It's like, oh my God. And neither of the people were right. It was a true argument. It was like, you didn't see one person's side and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally on their side and stuff. It was like, you see both sides and you're like, dang, like either way, I'm just like, man, both of these people are just like, they have messed up. They've made mistakes and now they're paying for them pretty much.
All right, dude, I want to get into spoilers, so I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up this part real fast. I say it's worth watching at least once. I wouldn't say bother. It really doesn't feel like there's a good reason to watch it a second time because you know what's happening. But it's a good, like, just chill out with your friends, have a beer, and kind of like talk about it as you're watching it.
Yeah,
Thing.
or just even if you like murder mysteries and stuff, or like courtroom dramas and stuff, like this is a really good one, and it's really well done.
Yeah. That being said, let's get into actual spoilers here.
Yes, spoilers from here on out.
The big spoiler. We still don't actually know if she did it.
I know.
They never actually answered. Okay, they weren't like, did she? They didn't just like come out and say that.
Yeah.
They're just more like, they ruled it as suicide.
Yeah.
But we never got a definite, there was no like flashback where we saw what happened. It was just, this is what the ruling was, So
yeah,
who knows?
And that's realistic in that situation.
Yeah, because you would never know.
Yeah, you would never know unless you were that one person. You would never know if it was a suicide or if it was a murder. Or if he just fell somehow and just landed a really weird way. I
could feel the the tense, the anxiety, the just tension in her body when they were talking about very personal things about her life and her son was in the courtroom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like it kept cutting to her son. Her son is just like, just Daniel's like just like doing this. And it cuts back to her and she's just like she is stiff as a board. You could tell that she is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's very, intimate stuff they're talking about. It's her sex life, it's her feelings, it's her, arguments with her husband. That's very personal stuff.
A suicide attempt that he didn't even know about, and oh my gosh. And that scene with the dog. There's a scene towards the end where he like gives the dog aspirin to see if he would throw up or something. It's explained well in the movie. I'm not going to go into full detail, but I thought he killed the dog for a second. Like I thought that dog was dead, and I was like, I'm about to sob. Like I can't handle this right now.
Yeah, he thought he killed the dog too.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, that kid's a brat, but then I was like, okay, he didn't mean to do like that much.
Yeah,
and the kid's desperate. The kid literally just lost his father and his mother. Like I give the kid a pass on that one. Yeah, I give the kid a pass.
He gets a one pass because
that one's like okay, kid, like you're skirting the line there, but okay, like we're keeping an eye on you, fella.
Yeah.
Don't trust him in any future movies with dogs.
No. But that scene when he's in the courtroom and he's describing his dad talking to him and saying like, Snoop's getting old, talking about the dog and saying, like he could die any day now, or any year now, like someday it's just going to be this time. Yeah. And it was like, dang, I can see how that, yeah, I can see that, how that could be him talking about himself.
And
but then there's the question of, Daniel remembered every single word he said. Like, did Daniel maybe just make something like that up to get his mom off the hook?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting the argument in, again, thinking back to where, her side of the argument was, we do everything your way. Basically, we do everything your way. What do you mean you don't ever get your way? Is it what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And his argument was, I never going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Very boiled down. It's more complicated than that. I'm just making it very simple for this video. But I feel like there is legitimate reason why he would want to commit suicide, because he probably realizes that she's kind of right. I brought us here thinking to fix our problems, and it didn't. I just keep failing left and right, and it is my fault. I try to blame my wife, but it's not her. I can see why, but I can also see why the other thing could happen, why it could have been her. I can see how it could be both scenarios.
Yeah. especially with her cheating that year. And then not only that, but also just all the little things. And then the beginning. Yeah.
And the husband sort of, not directly, but kind of being part of why their son is mostly blind.
Yes. Yeah. And I know she said she didn't blame him, but that'd be extremely hard not to. Because in the situation, it was like he was just writing and didn't feel like going to pick up his son from work. And so he called a babysitter to get him. And then that's on you, you would blame yourself. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I'm very excited to see what you rate this one. I know we can't find out now, so we gotta wait.
I know,
but I'm excited.
Yeah. I gotta really think about this one.
Yeah, this one I feel like I'm gonna be thinking about for the next few days.
It's hard to be like, this is how I feel, because it is a slower movie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
but it has substance. You just gotta actually pay attention. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just chill on your phone. You know, you gotta actually like pay attention.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, there were times where I pulled up my phone, it was kind of fiddling. I was like, what am I doing? And like I had to like refocus and like, okay, like stuff is actually happening. And it is a little bit harder because it is a foreign film, so you are doing a lot of reading. But at the same time, that kind of makes you pay attention because you have to read.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said to myself. I actually was able to stay off my phone the entire time. So well, actually, that might not be true. I might have hopped on there for like 1 second, like 1 minute to do something. But I didn't find myself checking the time constantly. I checked it like once at the beginning when you were like, dang, this movie's long.
I checked it a bunch.
Oh, really?
I don't have the attention span for like slow burn movies like this. I just don't.
Mhm.
You know, I'm there. I'm watching a movie to have a good time, not to, you know, sit there for 3 hours for, you know, a 5-minute payoff.
Yeah.
You know,
but
that doesn't mean I didn't like
movie,
it. I'm just saying that's why I tend to do that.
Yeah. I feel like this movie had more than a 5-minute payoff. Like there were scenes where it was I was hooked. Like seriously, like I can't express enough how much that argument scene meant to me. Like I've seen that in life. Like I've been there. I've been like in that situation. And so like seeing that, it was like, whoa, this feels real. Like this feels really real. So
my dilemma with this movie is, do I rate it as a movie or do I rate it as a story? And that's where I'm having a hard time. Because
I would say take
as
all
a movie
the aspects and put them together.
Because I just told you that my preference on movies aren't these slower things.
Yeah.
I'm not big into these slow movies. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to tell you now, obviously. I had to think about it.
Yeah.
But all in all, it is still worth it, I would say, at least once. Check it out.
I agree. And for those who don't know, we're going through all 10 of the Oscar movies, and at the end, we're going to react to the Oscars and see if one of our picks made it and actually won Best Picture, or if we are completely let down and it's something dumb.
All right, shall we roll for the next movie?
We should.
Hey Google,
1 through 7.
I need a number between 1 and 7.
Here's a random number. 3.
3.
Dang it! I gotta pay for this one. I gotta pay for
We gotta pay for all of them, but
almost all of them. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is called American Fiction.
okay.
I believe it's a comedy ish.
Okay.
It's like a black comedy.
Okay.
Wait,
I'm down
I'm
for
gonna
something
double
a little different. I'm down for something a little less dramatic. The last few movies have been kind of dramatic. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay. It is a comedy drama. So that's what it is.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna do just the IMDb little plot that it says.
Mm-hmm. Dora. Taking you a while.
I know, if it'll give me the whole thing. Basically, it says a novelist who's fed up with the establishment profiting from black entertainment uses a pen name to write a book that propels him into the heart of the hypocrisy and madness he claims to disdain.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
well,
a little bit different. Not sad and not depressing.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what this movie is going to be, but we're just going to have to go with it.